Hello and welcome to the video. I'm going to talk to you today about gyro controls, or motion controls if you want to call them that instead. So the Nintendo Switch is known to have some of the best motion controls out there, gyro controls, with it having HD gyro within the Joy-Cons and on the Switch 2 as well. It's a great opportunity to talk about some more of the gyro games, motion control games on Nintendo Switch. So here we go. These games can be played on the Switch and the Switch 2, so check them out if you are looking for gyro controls. Now, the reason gyro controls are so great is because they make games extremely accessible for people who aren't really great with button controls. So what gyro does is basically when you move a Joy-Con around like this in your hand, or point it around, basically that means that you are controlling an object or a person or something within the game to just basically interact with it. So that's basically what a gyro control is. So here's 10 games I'm going to talk about, and I hope you like them. I have made a video previously like this one where there's 10 other games you can look at. I'll put a link at the end of the video, so do look out for that. The first game I'm going to talk about is actually a series of games on the Nintendo Switch, and this game is Super Mario Party. Now, Super Mario Party is a series of games on Nintendo Switch that is basically just a load of party games. Now, a lot of these games do actually use button controls. However, I will just point out there's a lot of games here as well that are extremely accessible that use motion controls. Now, a party game is a series of little mini games overall that you can interact with, and often like little challenges and stuff like that where you play with multiple people, and through these mini games you get the opportunity to one-up the person who is playing against you. With Mario Party being a party themed game where you get to basically go around a series of boards, like board game kind of style boards, and just go through the games, collect the stars, and basically get as many coins as you can by beating the mini games and coming in first place. The more stars you get, the more likely you are to win the game. So it's basically what it is. Mario Party is a competitive multiplayer game essentially. Sometimes it has a little bit of a story, or sometimes it's just fun and it's just an opportunity to play like this Mario themed board game. There's lots of different boards you can play on. There's 2 games I can think of in the Mario Party series that are available on Switch right now, and that is Super Mario Party as well as Super Mario Party Jamboree. Both pretty great games on Nintendo Switch and really good fun. I would say Jamboree is better in my opinion. They're both worthwhile to get. The next game I'm going to talk about is Okami HD. Now, Okami HD is a Zelda-like game where you play as this wolf character known as Amaterasu. So the reason this game is on the list is because it's like a Zelda puzzle game, but it also is a game where you get to use motion controls to control Amarasu's powers. So Amaterasu is like a god-like character, gets to use this like paintbrush to paint the world and essentially use the motion controls to brighten the world up. And yeah, it's really awesome. There's an awesome power, like attack power, where you get to swoosh the motion controls and it creates like a slash effect, or you can use like a wind effect where you get to create like a spiral with your hand, and it's like almost like where you get to create like a wind effect with your hand, and it creates like this wind so you can push things around and stuff like that. I really think Okami is a great Zelda-like clone with its own kind of individuality and style. It's like this watercolor painting game. So I recommend checking out Okami HD. It's brilliant. Great story, great characters. And the gameplay is really fun. It just looks amazing as well. Art style, one of the best ever in my opinion. It's like a watercolor art style. But the motion controls make it on the Switch version. Originally it was a Wii game, which then got ported to Nintendo Switch, and it's the best version of the game. The next game I'm going to talk about is WarioWare Move It. Now, WarioWare Move It is similar to Mario Party in a way, but it's not quite the same in the fact it's not a board game. It's a series of mini games where you get to play as different Wario characters. And you do like really silly games. They're really silly and they're really fun. They're very short, like 3-second mini games where you get to just do these like really crazy movements with your body, but you use the Joy-Con motion controls to beat these mini games. For example, you might have to punch something on screen and you have to just do a quick punch at the right time using the motion controls. There's loads. There's a lot of Nintendo themed ones as well, so different like Nintendo games are thrown into the WarioWare games where it's just like little snippets and stuff, so little Easter eggs and that. I really recommend WarioWare Move It. It's a game that was actually very slept on. Not many people brought it. I think the issue with the game is it's very short and it's over. You can complete it within a couple of hours. But the fun really is that you play it with friends and just be silly, I guess, with it. That's kind of the whole point. I recommend WarioWare Move It. It's just one of those kind of fun games that isn't anything serious, but it's also a lot of fun to just play with friends. Next game I'm going to talk about is Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. So of course we're not in 2020 anymore, and we all know what happened in 2020, so we'll get over that and brush past it, and we'll go straight for the fact that this is the only Mario and Sonic game on Nintendo Switch. But that doesn't mean you still can't play it. Like, it's a Mario and Sonic mini game kind of style game that's very similar to perhaps like Wii Sports or Nintendo Switch Sports. But in this game, you play as the characters from Mario or Sonic. So the series of Mario and Sonic have come together, and you get to play as these characters and do like Olympic games. So for example, you could do sprinting, or there's skateboarding in this game. Actually, I think this was a new addition to the series because there was skateboarding added to the 2020 Olympic Games, which was a new sport. There's lots of other ones as well to look through. So any kind of Olympic game you can think of, most likely in this game. So yeah, that's an opportunity to play with the motion controls within this game. So like I say, it's almost like Wii Sports in a way. Like, for example, baseball or something like that. You know, you throw the ball, or you hit it with the baseball bat. Running, I think from what I remember, you go like this. You run with the Joy-Cons. It's a game to play with your friends if you've got time to with your friends. Then it's just a bit of fun for a couple of hours. Next game I'm going to talk about is Trombone Champ. Now, Trombone Champ is a really, really interesting game. It's a silly game. If you've ever played Wii Music on Nintendo Wii, you will know exactly what I'm talking about, in the fact that that game used motion controls to simulate playing instruments. But this game is different. This is just a trombone style game, but you get to basically like play trombone over iconic pieces of music. So yeah, it's silly. Obviously, when you play trombone over any song, it just sounds hilarious in a way. I know trombone should be taken seriously, but in this game, the purpose of it is that it's supposed to be a fun thing of like, you're essentially playing songs, that iconic songs and famous songs, and putting trombone over them. And you know, the idea is that you're supposed to lift the trombone up and down like that to like get for the high notes or the low notes and stuff like that. So it's just silly, but it's a fun game again if you want to play with friends. Almost like Guitar Hero style, I guess. But it's easy accessible for everyone, this game. Next game we're going to talk about is the Pikmin series. Now, the Pikmin series are amazing. I love the Pikmin games. Number 1 is my favourite, essentially. It's the first one I played, and I think I'll continue to enjoy the first one most. I've still not played Pikmin 4, actually. I still need to play Pikmin 4. But Pikmin series, the best thing about the Pikmin series is the Wii versions were upgraded so that you could use pointer controls. And now these controls have continued over to the Nintendo Switch versions of the game. So you've got basically essentially all 4 Pikmin games available on Nintendo Switch if you can find them. Pikmin 1, 2, 3 and 4, that's what they're called, and they all use motion controls in the sense that you get to use pointer controls to basically have precise decision making. So you can go around and push your Pikmin around the screen, so you can tell them where to go and stuff like that by pointing exactly where you want them to go. Instead of using the stick controls, which can be quite finicky and annoying in a way. So the pointer controls are a massive upgrade for this series, because it just makes the game so much quicker, so much more precise, and you can actually just point everything around and tell the Pikmin where you want them to go on screen. It is a real-time strategy game where you get, I think it's like 10 minutes per cycle to go and just finish the level which you're doing, and you have to do the level multiple times to get further within the level and stuff like that. So it's a strategy game, Pikmin, but it's really fun. I love them. They can be quite stressful, Pikmin games, because once you've got an army of Pikmin, the last thing you want is to lose them and stuff like that, but you will lose Pikmin throughout this game because you build them up. So that's kind of the point of the game. But yeah, it's just one of those game series that is just extremely fun. I love Pikmin. I think you'll enjoy it too. Give it a chance. It's quite a slept-on game series in this side of the world, but I know that over in the East they love it. So Pikmin is one of the best Nintendo series out there, in my opinion. So I recommend getting these games, especially the Switch versions, just because they are just so much quicker, so much precise. They feel nice to play, and the motion controls are literally probably the best thing that happened to the series. The next game I'm going to talk about is Fitness Boxing. Now, if you watched the last video, I actually mentioned Ring Fit Adventure. So similar to Ring Fit Adventure, this game is a fitness game. So what this game essentially does is gives you the opportunity to do like rhythm boxing. So you get to like basically to music, you get to do fitness. So do boxing fitness kind of stuff like that, punching. So the gyro controls are really good in this game. So they are precise in the sense that when you punch, you have to get to the rhythm, and there's obviously like a personal trainer kind of thing egging you on, and it's just fun. There's different fitness boxing games on the Nintendo Switch. There's a series of them. Some of them are a little bit harder to find, but they are essentially Nintendo games. They're exclusives for Nintendo Switch, which you shouldn't miss, I think, because these are essentially some of the fitness games on Nintendo Switch, which are some of the best ones alongside Ring Fit Adventure. So Fitness Boxing is really good as well. If you want to lose a bit of weight or get fit, upgrade your endurance and your stamina and stuff like that, then Fitness Boxing is perfect. It will make you sweat. The next game I'm going to talk about is 1-2 Switch and Everybody 1-2 Switch. Now, okay, I said in my last video I wasn't going to talk about these games just because they aren't that great. But if you want a couple of hours of fun, okay, sure, play them. These games are essentially just little tiny mini games to show off the gyro controls, the motion controls on your Switch. The first game, 1-2 Switch, has some of the strangest games out there. There's a milking game where you get to milk a cow. There's like a gunslinger game. There's this game where you have to like try and unravel a chest to get like the chains off a chest and stuff like that. There's just some really strange games to play. If you're a Nintendo collector, I feel like these are games you probably should collect. They were the Nintendo Switch games that showed off gyro controls, in my opinion. I think that when the Nintendo Switch originally released, 1-2 Switch was the bundle game, a little bit like Wii Sports was. So is it a worthwhile game? Probably not. Is it a game you can say you've got as a collector? Sure. The second game, Everybody 1-2 Switch, has this really strange horse mascot character who is just very strange, and yeah, if you play the game you'll understand what I mean. Next game we're going to talk about is a more serious game, and this game is the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. So Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, it's an incredible game. Love this game. It's one of the greatest games ever made, in my opinion. It's just one of the best open world games out there. Story wise, it's really good. Quests are really fun, some of the best quests ever. It's the best Elder Scrolls, and I know that's debatable for a lot of people, but it's the best Elder Scrolls. Skyrim is just iconic. It's known as one of the essential games of the 2010 era of gaming. So yeah, I think this is a game to get on Nintendo Switch because it runs really well. It looks nice. It's a Nintendo Switch game essentially. This game was almost rebuilt really for Nintendo Switch because it was re-released for Nintendo Switch at the time when for some reason Bethesda kept releasing this game over and over again when they released it for Switch. But this version has gyro controls available with it, so you can basically essentially use motion controls to move your weapons around, so it gives you precision aiming. And almost like The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword, which I mentioned in my last video, which you should check out. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword HD has this ability to move your sword around Link's hand. So with Link holding swords and his shield, you get to essentially move the sword around. It's very similar in the fact that Elder Scrolls V gives you that opportunity to go around with your sword in hand and just like hold it as if you're holding the sword. Obviously, most of the game is in first-person view. You can have third-person view, but it's really good if you're in a fight because you can just use it to like whack things around and slice things and stuff. And that's kind of the whole point of the reason this game was remade in a way for Nintendo Switch. And also with things like bow and arrow pointing as well, like so you can use the Joy-Con to point where your bow and arrow is going to aim. So yeah, it's essential this game just so that you can essentially play with gyro controls. You could argue that this is the best version of Elder Scrolls because it has the most content with it, because it has also the Legend of Zelda content which is exclusive to this version of the game. In this version of the game you can wear Link's champion tunic and also have the Master Sword and the Hylian shield if you really want to. I think there's other stuff as well I'm forgetting. But the final game I'm going to talk about now is Mario Golf Super Rush. Now this is Wii Sports Golf, but it's bigger, better than Wii Sports Golf. It's a Mario game playing golf. It's one of the better Mario sports games available on Nintendo Switch. Is it the best sports game? I wouldn't say so. Mario Kart is always going to be the best sports game in the Mario kind of sports franchise style games. But Mario Golf Super Rush is still relatively playable. Content, not a lot of content within the game, but it's a golf game. You play golf, you play it with friends. There is the Super Rush mode where you get to essentially play against other people, but you all play at the same time, and you have to run to your ball, and whoever gets to the end of the golf course at the end, who clears all the holes, is the winner. It's like a race to clear all the holes. That's essentially what that is. It's a very different style of gameplay, but it's a new addition to this game. Mario Golf Super Rush, there's not really much to explain about it other than the fact that it's a Mario game when you play golf. Obviously there's different like power-ups and stuff, and different style of clubs you can use that give you like special attacks and effects and stuff like that you can use across the Mario golf courses, just like you would in Mario Kart, where you can use different items to throw at other karts. It's basically just Mario craziness. I think it's a worthwhile game personally. I don't think it's the best sports game you can find on Nintendo Switch, but it is one of the better ones in my opinion. So I think it's worthwhile. I hope that has helped out. That's a list of 10 more gyro motion control games which I think are worth picking up for your Nintendo Switch. And the reason they are worth picking up is because they're just so accessible. It makes gaming easier for people who probably don't like button controls. So yeah, anyway, this is the second kind of video I've made on gyro controls and motion controls, so if you are still interested, you can check out my last video which I did on this, so check that out. It's a good video. I actually really liked making that video, and I think it's one of my better videos. So thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, comment and subscribe on the video. It really helps out the channel, and I will see you for the next one. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Bye.